I think we're happening. I'll just sing a little something, wait and see, make sure this is happening. Give me a beat. Uh, Flemish folk tunes today. I've done lots of spiritual healing. I'm in touch with all my feelings. I've read palms and read the stars for kings and queens. And I hate to bum you out, but you have without a doubt the ugliest aura this poor boy's ever seen. Are we happening? I can see your aura and it's ugly. Your spirit must be rotten to the core. To a new age guy like me, you'll just bring pain and misery. So darling, I can't love you anymore. In some life before, you murdered people by the score. I'm stalling. Your evil is so totally complete. All good from you is gone. You are darkness with no dawn. Either that or you are eating too much meat. I can see your aura and it's ugly. Your spirit must be rotten to the core. To a new age guy like me, you'll just bring pain and misery. So darling, I can't love you anymore. Pretty close. Hey, how about that? Hi there, boys and girls. Your old pal Stevie Coyle here, webcasting from Mighty Fine Guitars in bucolic Lafayette, California. Just about 20 miles due east and slightly north of San Francisco, and boy is it smoky here today. It sure is. I'll answer my own question. Yes, it is smoky here today. And so a little bit froggy, a little bit throaty, even more so than usual. And just wait for a couple of minutes. I'm going to feature a guitar today by a fellow named Doerr, D-O-E-R-R, Doerr. And it's attracted quite a lot of attention recently for some reason. I wanted to feature it on the program here because it's a guitar that somebody should own. And let me just check and see who's happening here. Hey, Tom Holtman. How are you, man? There's Tom. There's Arden. There's Mark Baranki. There's Steve Della Maggiora. I'll get it right one of these days, Steve, I promise. Rufus. Michael Cuneo. Very good. Dan Payne. Terrific. All right. Well, very good. I think we got a picture. If the sound is okay, I'll proceed with this discussion of this here guitar by Tom Doerr, D-O-E-R-R. Look at that. Now I'm going to do what I can to feature one of the main coolnesses of this guitar, and that is this body bevel. This is an older Doerr. He doesn't build this style anymore. Builds strictly with Brazilian rosewood these days. Old growth Brazilian rosewood. He laid hands on somewhere, and he's got the good stuff. This, however, is Ziricote. How about that? Let me see if I can get a good. There we go. How's that? Can you see the grain a little better that way? Ziricote back and sides, and a redwood top. Now there's redwood tops and there's redwood tops. Redwood is typically not used for a side or back build, for back or side wood. But for top wood, smoke that cigarette. It's used as a top wood, and it really depends on the tree and where the tree came from, and what the provenance of the tree is, how the wood was cured. There's redwood that's great for patio furniture, and then there's redwood that's good for top and for tops of guitars. This is the good stuff. Look at how beautiful that is. Now the coolest feature about this, arguably, well, they're all the coolest feature. It's got that Manzer wedge going on, narrower over here than it is over here at your knee, so that it leans right into you. And the face of the guitar is up towards you instead of going straight out. Depends on how you play. I always kick a guitar back this way a little bit anyway, but this way I get to hear the face. And kids, it's not really this, they call it the sound hole, but it's not the whole of the guitar where most of the sound comes from. Most of the sound of the guitar comes from the lower bout here. It's just like a big speaker activated by the bridge and the bridge saddle where the strings terminate. And that's where most of the sound comes from. So if you can kind of kick back, speaking of which, I'm sorry about that. If you can kind of kick back and play a guitar like this, which is, let's face it, the way most of us play guitar nowadays is in the lazy boy or on the couch, And this means that the face of the guitar is facing up towards you more, and you get to hear more of what other people hear when you play the guitar. So that's one cool feature, is the Manzer wedge. Now, the other cool feature is this arm bevel that's right here. Can I do this and still be in the light? Sorry about that. I keep kicking the mic. See that bevel right there? Well, check it out. This bevel goes all the way around the lower bout of the guitar. Pretty hip and not easy to do, I'll tell you what. From what I hear, I am not a builder, but I hear tell the old body bevel used to be, or a bevel of any kind. Tony Yamamoto, wonderful builder, who used to live in the area here, sold a bunch of his guitars, and I still have a couple of his guitars in here. Hit me up. I remember the day he figured out how to do a bevel without spending 3 weeks on it. He came in clutching the guitar, not even in a case, just clutching the guitar and covered in sawdust. And he said, I figured out how to do it. So if he found it that exciting to finally figure out how to do it, it must be kind of difficult to do. It certainly does make the guitar more comfortable. Again, totally built for comfort. The body bevel means that your arm isn't the wedge, the Manzer wedge, means that your arm isn't out far away from your body before it drops down and faces the guitar. It kicks right in, it's real close to your body, it's comfy. And the bevel means that there's no sharp little edge poking into that nerve bundle right on the inside of your elbow there. Wow, cool sound too. And let me tune up. You folks can tune up too, go ahead. Why don't we all tune up here? G. Start down here. Eddie, E. Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. E. A is a little flat, there's more like it. D is flat too, come on up, baby. D. G is pretty good. B. E. Standard tuning, missionary tuning they call it. Totally worthy tuning. A lot of people sneer at standard tuning these days, but boy, it puts we'll get into this sometime. It puts the ones and the fives right next to each other in the bass, which is really useful for fingerstyle and for flat picking too. Anyway, back to this Doerr guitar. It's Ziricote back and sides, and I always like to show folks this part of the guitar, because that's what I'm going to be looking at as a player a lot, is right there. Tell you what, I could get a little more light on me here, couldn't I? Hang on just a second. What happened? Maybe that'll get a little more light. Let's try that. Yeah. Oh, that's better, isn't it? There you go. Now you can see that Ziricote a little better. This is the stuff, and it's stripy. It's got what they call landscaping to it. It almost looks like a desert landscape. And this is what the player gets to see, is this bit right here. Pretty cool, pretty beautiful. It's, let me read you the specs on this guitar. Let me play it first a little bit. Good heavens, Coil. Real interesting sound. The sound has some edge on it to start off with, but it's got some of the softness of a softer wood. It's got some of the mellowness. It doesn't have that super strident, pingy sort of sound that spruce has. It's got a little bit more mellow to it, a little wider sound instead of narrow and pointy, to use some very strange imagery. But lots of cool overtones stack. It's very different from a spruce-topped guitar. The overtones don't stack up the same way, but this has this kind of low rumble, this sort of ominous rumble that sort of trundles along under everything you play on those low strings. cool, mysterious sort of sound. There's lots of propagation of the waves, Moriarty. Positive waves, Moriarty. But it's not like spruce. So here's my suggestion. If you've got a stack of spruce-topped guitars and are looking for something different and cool, but still loud and clear, consider a Tom Doerr out of Ziricote and redwood. Good old redwood. Bloodwood bindings, 5-piece neck, mostly mahogany, but a 5-piece neck, ebony fingerboard, super cool inlay at the 12th fret here. Kind of a little dolphin-y looking sort of thing. Maybe a dolphin, maybe a seahorse, maybe, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. It's cool abstract inlay. Hip guitar. Let me read you some specs. The specs are right here. Tom Doerr, it's the Solace. It's a 2007. It's the Solace Select. Redwood and Ziricote. A unique modified Ryan-style bevel on the top that surrounds the entire lower bout. Exactly. There it is. I'll hold this up so you can kind of see what's going on a little bit. Beautiful inlay into the 12th fret on the fretboard. Just talked about that. I don't know what it is, but it's super cool, abstract kind of thing. Highly figured Ziricote back and sides. Highly figured indeed. And lots of that cool landscaping. Which, tell you what, if I can, I don't know if I can demonstrate that in... Can you see the horizontalness of the grain here? Doesn't that look like a desert landscape with maybe some mesas in the background? That's kind of what Ziricote is known for. The top is redwood, 1 3/4 across the nut, 25.4 scale length, long scale, nice long scale for those of you that do drop tunings. That low string won't flop around too much for you. And the string spacing at the saddle is 2.25. It's a 16.25 inch lower bout. Big guitar, but a fairly tight waist. It's not uncomfortable to play. There's a lot of width going on down there, but where you kind of get across the guitar here, it sits low enough on your lap, on the waist, that coming over the top, especially with the combination of the wedge body and the bevel, totally comfy. The guitar has been refinished by Tom Doerr himself in 2017, and there's a Baggs Lyric pickup inside there. The Lyric is a little microphone style pickup that fights feedback like crazy. Might not stand up to a band with bass and drums and all that kind of stuff, but for solo work, the Lyric really fights feedback like crazy, and it's remarkable to get really microphonic sound. Some nice trombone down there. Bassy and big and as much boom as it has, I'll bet it would record magnificently. Really even, tremendous evenness. It's big everywhere. I keep talking about the bass because that's what kind of rattles the lungs in my chest. But it's even everywhere. And you know what? I'm getting way behind on your questions and comments. Pardon me. I'll be right with you. And I see my brother. Hi, Jamie. There's my brother Jamie, fearsome guitarist himself. Mike Kubik, Salinas. Go Salinas. Very good. Mike, these are light gauge strings. I put light gauge on everything. Even just with light gauge strings, that guitar has that much boom. If you do drop tunings and stuff, or if you're a total stud and you want to play with medium strings, the guitar will handle it. But these are light gauge clear tone strings. Treated, not coated, whatever that means. but that's what the sales guy tells me. Hey, Russ. Bob Faden. Excellent. Michael Ferrucci. There he is. Mr. Guitar Livermore. Very good. Fine Fretted Friends. A wonderful shop out there. And Eddie 8 Dynamite. Yeah, I know, Glenn. Glenn Barker. Eddie 8 Dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. It's not completely elegant because you have to split up goodbye into 2 words, but what the hell? Pretty close. Hey, there's John DeLapp. Very good. Brian Deller. Happy anniversary to you. Lovely. 25 years. They said it couldn't be done, but here you are. And you live. How about playing Smoke on the Water? Let me think. No. But I'll play something else on it for you very soon. Matt Hayden. There you go. Rob Tavarro. Very good. Bill Day. Mike Cunha. Ian Bagger. Both sides now. How about that, Andrew? You know what? I'm not warmed up at all. I haven't played a note today before I sat down with this guitar, but tell you what, let me pop into that other tuning because I'm interested to see that too. My little arrangement of Both Sides Now is essentially Chet Atkins' arrangement of Both Sides Now in a G6 tuning, which is easier than it sounds. It's just the A string, the Eddie 8 Dynamite, the A string down to G. Super easy tuners. What do we have here? The Delta series, of course. Yep. Wonderful, easy, smooth tuners. Wow. Oh, that makes my toes shoot up in my boot to tune that up, to feel it come into tune. Wah, 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 and stop. It's great. Yeah. I forgot when I was tuning up that often when you're going into a G tuning, you want to take that B string down just a little bit because the ear, for whatever reason, doesn't want to hear a 3 interval where science and equal temperament says that it should be. Always wants to hear the 3s a little bit flat. So whenever you're going into a G tuning, probably want to tune your B string down a little bit. Doerr players know this. Of course they do. They do this all the time. If you're going into a D tuning, a regular old D tuning, D-A-D, F-sharp, A-D, dad fad, then tune that F sharp down just a little bit and your ear will be happier. And other strings will match up nicer too. I should have done that when I went into this tuning. My apologies. Mea culpa. Really interesting guitar. Let me read you a little bit about Mr. Doerr himself. I printed up his philosophy and his biography. Journeys toward building the finest possible fingerstyle guitar I can craft began one evening in 1996 when he went to a Phil Keaggy concert. Seeing him play changed the course of my life. Up till then, I'd been playing an electric guitar and a cheap mass-produced acoustic guitar. Oh, so sad. The story starts off sad, but I think it gets happy at the end. But after hearing Phil, I began to concentrate on fingerstyle. Shortly afterwards, I wondered what guitar Phil played, and after some research, found out there was a hand-built Jim Olsen guitar, of course. In 1997, I heard of a local builder here in Michigan named Bill Wise of Karas Acoustics, who had just begun building acoustic guitars. My dear pal Doug Adams fell in love with a Karas guitar and was dreaming about it. He knew he had to go back and get it the next day at the Healdsburg Guitar Festival because he dreamt all night about it floating above him in bed, and he figured it was a sign from God. From Bill Wise, I ordered my first hand-built guitar and received it in 1998. In 2000, I ordered my second guitar from Bill, and while he was building it, that's when the luthier bug bit me. In 2001, I made my first guitar, and 3 years later went full-time guitar building. In 2000, he went to a master class on top voicing, spent some time with Irvin Samoji here in California, right across the hills here in Oakland. When I first began in 2001, I was influenced by luthiers Jim Olsen and Kevin Ryan, and my first guitars resembled theirs in many aspects. And since 2002, I was influenced by other builders, such as Jeff Traugott, Michi Matsuda, and many others. He learned to appreciate the simplicity along with details. In 2009, he took the sum of my learning, knowledge, and experience and created his newest line of guitars. Today, the Doerr guitar is truly unique to my own experiences and design and reflects my uncompromised commitment to detail. And it's true. The guitar is gorgeous. And the fellow who owns this guitar has kept it in great shape. It's one of those guitars that's very low mileage. Barely anybody has kicked the tires. And it comes with a beautiful hard shell case. You know, the asking price on this, I know you're asking, is $5,900. Marked down actually we had this at $6,450 for a while. Or was it $69? It could have got that, but he's kind of a motivated seller. He's motivated not because he needs the money terribly, but because he'd rather see the guitar get played than wring every last dollar out of every guitar he sells. And he's got lots and lots of guitars, which is totally cool, I think, to kind of sell them for a more moderate price, what they're worth, but a more moderate price, because he wants to see them get played. That's hip. That's just totally hip. Gotta knock the dust off of this one. It's got its own reverb chamber. Quite remarkable. Put him in the ground, 6 feet down, till you hear that coffin sound. You can weep and you can moan, that old boy is never coming home. Another man done a full go round. Another man done a full go round. Cool. I noticed as I was coming through that I had a bit of a palm, they call it a palm mute. It's not the palm of your hand, it's the heel of your hand. We call it a palm mute. Had a bit of that going on the low strings just because there's so much rumble down there. But it's fun coming out of the singing part to go into, to release that and get the full pop out of those low strings. That's hip. Let me read you a little bit about Tom Doerr's philosophy, because I printed that up too. That is... My approach to guitar... My approach to guitars is simple. Make a guitar that sounds great, feels great, looks great, and even smells great. And it does. I don't know what he did. Some crack in the finish or something, you know. Some good smells. This is what I strive to provide, even when it means investing more time. I do not build guitars for mass production. He builds guitars that are inspiring to see, inspiring to hold, inspiring to smell. I'll add that. more important to take the time to put my heart into 10 fine guitars a year. He just builds 10 guitars a year. And like I say, nowadays, he's building nothing but Brazilian back guitars. Finding a guitar like this, there's no more of these going to be made. There's some attraction there. There's some provenance there. He uses Brazilian rosewood on every guitar he builds. This is the recent philosophy stuff. He also does, this guitar does not have what he often does nowadays, which is lattice bracing on the backs and sides. This is fairly standard bracing, isn't it? Yes, hugely scalloped. But yes, much more standard bracing, Martinesque in certain respects, and really beautifully done braces. Just because a lot of people don't look inside to see what the braces look like, some builders just sort of, they build fine things. He actually has made these sculptural with really fine pointy points on them. Lovely. Just lovely. And I'm quite sure this is Indian rosewood along the bevel here. I don't think I told you about that. And Indian rosewood, that might be Brazilian on the rosette. Do I have that on my little spec sheet from the owner? I'm not sure. Let me check and see. I do not. Anyway, the asking price is $5,900. The owner may want to talk turkey. That's how it works around here. He may accept an offer south of that. He may not. But if you're interested in this guitar, I'm going to be showing this to a couple of people later on this afternoon on Skype and FaceTime. So those guys get first dibs. But if you want to get in line, or if you want to take a look at any of these guitars on Skype or FaceTime or Zoom or whatever you like, I think the sound is arguably best on Skype. FaceTime is great too. Zoom is maximized for voice content, and they're for lessons and stuff where we need to look at tabs together or show each other videos or whatnot. That's where Zoom really shines. But for just being able to listen to the sound of a guitar, I like Skype best. It's peer-to-peer. Instead of going through all of the stuff that Zoom has going on, instead of looping through their system and getting everything compressed and squashed. For voice maximization, Zoom is peer-to-peer, and the sound quality is a whole lot better. So hit me up for a Zoom session on any of the guitars that I've got in here. I live a mile from here. I love coming down here because it's cool. The air conditioning works here. So please hit me up for some Skype stuff. And hit me up for some lessons too, because I do give guitar lessons. And yes, even beginners, even people that haven't played in years and years. I'm not teaching just advanced folks, good heavens. No, I get a huge kick out of teaching beginners in particular, because you folks make bigger jumps than the rest of us. The rest of us a lot of people may be technically farther down the road than you are, but you make bigger jumps all at once. And I love being around for those lessons where a student instantly becomes a better guitarist because they executed something properly and nicely for the first time and delighted themselves. Get a huge vicarious kick out of that. So, lessons, yes, I give them. Half hours are 45, hours are 85, and you end up with a recording at the end of the thing of tightly condensed whatever we went over during your lesson. Instead of recording the whole lesson, which is hugely inefficient, just record a little 5-minute thing at the end that is just your lesson, whatever we went over, tightly condensed so you can work with it over and over and over. It's a pretty good system, I must say. Half hours are 45, hours are 85, and it doesn't have to be on any kind of schedule. It can be weekly. It can be every other week. It can be once a month. It can be whenever you've got time. Just do one, and then I have plenty of guys and gals that tell me, you know what, that was great. Let me work on that. I'll get back to you when I've got that digested or when I want to move on to something else. Totally fair. It all works, especially nowadays when it's all online. And we've got great tools to use. Zoom in particular, like I was saying, we can pop up and look at tab at the same time. I can play videos for you. You can play videos for me. It's a great system. And I'd never even heard of it before 5 months ago. Amazing. Big old wide world. Big old wacky world, as they say. Let me catch up with your comments and questions. Hey, Mikey McNevin. There you are. Folks, Michael McNevin, you got a pencil and paper there? Jot it down. You're going to want to see this guy's webcasts. Very entertaining. From the little tiny town, the town that time forgot, Niles, California, one of the districts in Fremont. And Mikey's got a cool shop that is an old converted barber shop that's about this big, and is sitting on right next to the property where Charlie Chaplin made a bunch of his first films, and all those Bronco Billy movies were made. Fascinating cat. When you go over to Michael McNevin's shows, have him show you some of his Etch-a-Sketch I always refer to this as an Etch-a-Sketch, but he uses a real Etch-a-Sketch, with the knobs and the dials, and he can do portraits, he can do pictures. The guy's a mad genius in that respect. Who else we got here? I'm so far behind. Hello, everybody. Hi, Frank Troncalli. Great builder. Pete Madsen, finger picker, blues guy, great stuff. Hey, Renee. Eric John, Elizabeth, Rose, Calvin. I'm playing Miss Nancy right now. I'm just saying hello to everybody. If there are any comments or questions, fire away, because I'm trying to keep these things a little shorter than I used to. And it's starting to heat up in here because I got the air conditioning off. So unless you want to see me turn into a sweaty mess, I should probably button up pretty soon. Hey, Dan Gable, there you are. Oh, Dan Gable is one of the 3 guys that formed Peghead Nation. While you got your pencil out and you have written down Mikey McNevin, of course, tune in pegheadnation.com. All kinds of fantastic instruction over there, including yours truly, Stevie Coyle here. Perhaps you've heard of me, as my friend Teresa says, except she says Teresa. Peghead Nation, there's all kinds of great instruction for all kinds of stringed instruments by total pros, and gear reviews, articles, interviews. It's the former editorial staff of Acoustic Guitar Magazine. Form their own thing, and it's totally cool. pegheadnation.com. If you ain't hip, get hip. I feel on these little webcasts I'm sort of, as much as anything, a clearinghouse for cool stuff that I've discovered by spending hours and hours and hours online, which I admit I have. But I hope that most of them were well-spent hours and that I've discovered things that you will find useful as well. There you are. Let me play this thing a little bit more for you. We'll call it good for the day. Just one guitar today, and I think I'm going to do that for the most part, is feature a single guitar per Friday Noontime-ish webcast. Thank you all for tuning in. It's really tough to swing out a drop D because that rumble is so exciting. If there are any comments or questions, I'm going to sign off, but if you got any, pop them in there. I'll answer them down in the crawl later on. You can always come back to this stream a little bit later if you like, and you can tell your friends about it if you like. You can share. Sharing is something, I forget, it rhymes. But by all means, tune in Fridays at 12:30-ish after the bulk of the California report from the governor. It's just going on to like hour and a half, 2 hours now. I got to play sometime, so I jumped in. Sorry, Gavin. I jumped in on your stuff there. I also do webcasts from my secret island stronghold on Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. and on Thursday afternoons generally when it's not hotter than hell and smokier than shite. On Thursday afternoons at 1:30 Pacific time. So Monday nights at 7:30, Thursday afternoons at 1:30. Shows. Playing like guitar and singing and stuff instead of showing off these fabulous guitars. That happens on Fridays right here on this station. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Stevie Coyle here. One last look. Make sure I'm not leaving anybody in the lurch. No, I think we're good. All right. Down the road, kids. And give this just a couple of minutes to upload and finish doing its thing, and it'll be a lovely picture, even better than it was here, because that's somehow it does that. It uploads the original file which invariably is better than the webified file, the Wi-Fi file. And you can watch this later on and send it off to your friends if you like. And here's everybody's favorite part, including mine. I should trademark this, the awkward grope for the camera to turn the damn thing off. Bye-bye, kids.